Folks, what the crap's going on? Heir of Carthage here. How many of you like some Premierian, or in this case, I guess, Polybian Rome? Well, we've got some of that here for you today, and the original Legion is going to be facing off against Pontus. So let's check out the build here. There's a couple of sucky equites, a standard equite, a general's bodyguard. It is a general and bodyguard. We've got 3 Triari, looks like 5 Principe and 7 Principe and 3 Hastati. There's a Principe flanking, these are not Principe, so it is 5 Principe, and then we've got a couple of Saki Extraordinary, which is a heavier infantry, supporting the Hastati, though I would say that their stats in terms of attack are similar to Hastati, but they come with substantially more armor at 95. Health is 65 too versus 50, so they have a lot more health per unit, so a little bit more sturdy infantry. And then up front we've got the Velites, which is our classic wolf pelt wearing skirmishers for the Premierian Legion. On the other side of the field we have Pontus, and Pontus has some mercenary Scythian horse archers. It looks like there's going to be 3 of those. And then the skirmish component on foot is 3 Eastern archers, very capable, albeit light skirmishers, good at range. We've got some mercenary Celtic warriors making up a front line, Thurio spears in a second line, Pontic swords in a third line. There's 4 of them. Then Pontus is going to have some Cappadocian cavalry, scythe chariots, and a Pontic royal cavalry. So this is a heavy lance cavalry, or shock cavalry. So Pontus definitely has the mobility advantage. They are going to have to knock out, though, I think it was 3 Roman melee cavalry and a general to get through, but their horse archers could start making a substantial impact on this fight early. The Romans are going to be outranged, so the Velites will not be able to match the range of the Eastern archers. Pontus should make sure to keep their Eastern archers out of range of the Velites, so if the Velites push forward, the Eastern archers should pull back. We're going to see Rome making a move with its heavy infantry to try and get into melee as quickly as possible. This is definitely a smart move. We're seeing a cavalry testudo here for the equites to help protect them against missiles for longer. It's not a bad idea to sit there and tank some fire and just try and keep the horse archers busy for a moment, though there's Cappadocian cavalry moving that direction. But those equites did resist a significant amount of the missile fire there because of that testudo. Look at the slightly better speed of the medium infantry compared to the very heavy of the Saki equites here, so interesting to see that speed difference. We're going to see these mercenary Celtic warriors engaged by the Hastati. The Hastati are going to get tons of javelins thrown in their face, but the Romans are keeping their very heavy infantry quite clean. The Cappadocian cavalry charged in, smashed into the equites. It's going to be countered by a Saki equites, but there's still support from the horse archers, and we have a horse archer moving down the other flank. The Velites were kept at a distance away from the Eastern archers, but the Velites are going to need to get involved. Rome is doing a really nice job here maneuvering through the gaps, and this is something that legionaries are quite good at versus, more rigid type phalanx units. So we're going to see Rome cutting through those gaps and engaging their heavy infantry. The scythe chariots and the Pontic royal cavalry are coming out to play. The Cappadocian cavalry is proving very difficult for Rome to overcome. Their general now being thrown in as well. We've got a Saki equite coming out to try and meet the Pontic royal cav. These Velites are badly needed out here in this cavalry engagement, but they're also badly needed to keep an eye on those scythe chariots. If the Velites let those scythe chariots get away, then it's not going to end well for Rome here. Rome just needs a little bit of time to grind out the Pontic infantry, which is already well underway. They will be able to grind out the Pontic infantry if they're given the time to do so, being kept safe from the Pontic cavalry. So I feel like Rome's got a little bit of an urgency here to keep Pontus away from their infantry. Now look at these Eastern archers just pouring fire here into the Principe and Hastati. That could end up being quite effective. Cappadocian cavalry smashing into the back of the Saki Extraordinary, which was clearly winning the fight against the Pontic swordsmen, but not so much now. But this Principe is cleaning up a mercenary Celtic warrior. There's only Thurio spear, Pontic swordsmen flailing to Principe. Not surprising there. Principe are very good heavy infantry for the price. They're really quite solid. They're not going to be good on the charge, but they're tremendously good at grinding out. Remember that behind all this, Rome still has 3 very heavy spearmen here The Velites, though, really need to stay alive. I love how Pontus is really holding on to these scythe chariots. That it can be good and bad, right? They've kept their archers. Their archers are picking off Velites. The scythe chariots are going to move away from the Velites. There's a Triarii moving out here. They won't have an easy time stopping the scythe chariots. You can see the Velites moving in that general direction. Look at this Cappadocian cavalry just giving Rome's cavalry an absolutely difficult time. That Pontic Royal Cav facing off with the Triarii. Let's see, here comes the scythe chariot. It is rolling in behind the lines. Those Velites are getting a couple of javelin tosses here. It looks like it was going to go straight for the Triarii. They're going to form into a square, though. I don't know if they get it in time to be braced. We're going to see the Cappadocian cavalry intercept the Velites. That is a pretty decent toss there from the Velites. They just need to weaken up the scythe chariots enough where they can't finish the fight here. I think that's their objective. So the Romans definitely winning the infantry fight in pretty much every instance. This Triarii is now going to be singled out, and it's going to have a difficult time keeping up. And that Triarii took a lot of losses to the scythe chariot, though it's interesting to see the scythe chariot still just back here working that Triarii. I would love to see it just start cutting through these swordsmen. But nice rear charge there. Another Triarii moving up. Ooh, a lot of friendly fire into the scythe chariots here. Tons of friendly fire, actually. Yikes. And then, yeah, that friendly fire may have just wrecked the scythe chariot for the Roman. Pontic Royal Cavalry is going to put a crushing charge in here onto those Principae. Going to rally the Pontic troops here. This is a pretty close battle. The Roman legion is struggling a little bit to get to the finisher here because of the archers and the cavalry. So this is one of the challenges for that Primarian legion. Their infantry is really quite capable. Their skirmish and cavalry is really quite lacking, and it really does make this a struggle. The scythe chariots are about to be contained, though, but that Pontic Royal Cavalry is still just kind of having its way on the battlefield. It is not a supremely powerful shot cavalry, but it is powerful, and it's going to make a difference. One of the questions I have left, though, is how badly the Triarii get beat up here, because if they come healthy into the late game, they are going to be a difficult unit for the Pontic infantry to overcome. I still see, what, 1, 2 of the Triarii? So one of them was routed. That was a pretty cool play by Pontus there to rout a Triarii without it getting much effect. These archers have got to be near the end of their ammunition, but remember how I said that Eastern archers can be effective skirmishers? They were. They got a lot of kills. They provided some solid value in this battle. Pontus is just charging away with its cavalry, attempting to put the Romans under before their grindy powers come to show. But, I mean, Pontus is in, I would say, in a bit of trouble here because of this Triarii. It is going to be difficult for them to overcome that unit. All they have left is Thurio spears and a few Pontic swords, but those Pontic swords are trying to finish a Principe, and they're struggling to do so. I like how the general went and found a sword unit. Over here, these Saki Extraordinari. Remember the extra armor on those units and health? That could come in handy late into a battle like this as well. This Principe unit here kind of grinding things out. That Pontic general still making his influence felt on the battlefield here with rallies, keeping his troops in here. But these are very light archers and horse archers trying to take on some very heavy and well-armored infantry. And now there's Triarii coming in as well. So I think this fight is actually spoiling against Pontus, although it was very close even just moments ago. And honestly, if I look at this, I think that friendly fire incident with the chariots probably sealed this against Pontus. That may have been the decisive moment there. There was a ton of archer fire that came in from the Eastern archers and the Scythian horse archers all at the same time into the Triarii, but also hammered the scythe chariot that had just charged that Triarii. Scythe chariot is a huge target, and they are rather easy to hit by accident. Cappadocian cavalry charge here, aiming for the swords. It's a good call. There's 2 units of Triarii left. There is a single Pontic swordsman out here who has done pretty well for itself. These cavalrymen, though, are going to have a really hard time separating themselves from the Triarii. The Triarii do carry a decent spear. It's not amazing. It's the 29 damage spear. It comes with 5 AP. Slightly better than your standard sword, but they do have a solid 20 bonus versus large. That last sword unit for Rome did rout, and so that does make things a little concerning. This Pontic sword is a decent match against the Triarii, but not an excellent match. especially not with this many left. Here comes the square formations to shore up Roman morale and resolve, bracing, all that type of stuff. And the Pontic troops are losing their morale here, and the death of a general could make a huge difference at the moment. Here's the Pontic troops here. Are they dismounting? I thought I saw one of them dismount there at the last second. I'm not 100% sure. If you did have a sword cavalry that needed to dismount and fight a spear unit, that is totally feasible. And Aspis cavalry that we saw in the last video could do something like that if given the appropriate opportunity. So a Pyrrhic victory for the Polybian Legion here for Rome. Again, the heavy infantry is difficult to overcome for other factions. However, they can be done. I think you all saw the recipe in play for both players here. This was a very close battle. The heavy infantry recipe obviously won the day, but the skirmish and cav recipe darn near won it over here too, and you can see how it was capable of it. Again, I'm pretty sure if those scythe chariots didn't get nicked up by that friendly fire, this one probably goes to Pontus, because the Velites were actually pretty well contained by Pontus and kept from having too much impact on the scythe chariots. But they are very important to warding off units like elephants and scythe chariots. So definitely an interesting one there to see this battle between Pontus and Rome. A fun one. I hope you all enjoyed it. Really appreciate Hotel Soap and his opponent here. It looks like El Tempranillo. Yeah, I'm sure I'll say it wrong. But thank you both, and I'll see you soon with some more action in Total War Rome 2.